George Eliot was one of the most prolific writers of the Victorian era. She is now regarded as a leading female author who became highly influential. Eliot was a novelist, poet, translator, and journalist. Calling her a great female writer, even the greatest, may be an insult to George Eliot. Eliot distanced her own work from that of other writers of her sex, deriding silly novels by lady novelists, purportedly even criticizing the celebrated Jane Austen for dealing with trivialities. It is often suggested Eliot took a man's name for her nom de plume in order to be taken seriously as a writer, but many women had already blazed that path by the mid-19th century, when the woman born Mary Ann Evans started producing fiction. Rather, she became George to dissociate herself from existing women's writing. Nonetheless, she has continued often to be read as a writer with an insight into human intercourse that is distinctly feminine, despite her penning some of the hardest-hitting, rationalist critiques up to that time. And she has become a lightning rod for feminist criticism, on the positive side for creating strong women, and on the negative side for having them yield to male characters. Here are best books by George Eliot. Number 1. Middlemarch is a classic novel that has been around since the 19th century. It is often considered to be one of the greatest novels of all time, and is still widely read today. The novel follows the lives of a number of characters living in the fictional town of Middlemarch, England. As the novel progresses, the characters' lives become intertwined, and the reader is taken on an emotional journey as they witness the ups and downs of the characters' lives. The novel is full of complex characters with deep and varied motivations. George Eliot creates a vivid and detailed picture of life in the 19th century and the issues faced by the people of Middlemarch. The novel is full of social commentary and thought-provoking themes that still resonate today. The writing style of the novel is beautiful and poetic. George Eliot's use of language is masterful, and she is able to capture the nuances of the characters' emotions in a way that is both powerful and moving. Overall, Middlemarch is a classic novel that is still relevant today. It is a must-read for any fan of classic literature, and it is sure to leave the reader with a newfound appreciation for the power of the written word. Number 2. Silas Marner is a classic novel that has stood the test of time. It is an engaging tale of redemption, faith, and the power of love. The story follows Silas Marner, a weaver who has been betrayed by his best friend and left with nothing but bitterness and loneliness. He finds solace in his weaving and in the gold he collects, until one day a young girl appears and changes his life forever. The novel is beautifully written and filled with vivid imagery. Eliot captures the emotions of her characters with great sensitivity and skill. The plot is compelling and the characters are fully developed. The themes of betrayal, redemption, and the power of love are explored in depth. The Cynet Classics edition of Silas Marner is a great edition to own. It is attractively bound and includes an introduction by the editor, which provides an overview of the novel and its themes. It also includes a selection of critical essays, which provide further insight into the novel. Overall, Silas Marner is a wonderful novel that will stay with readers long after they have finished reading. It is a timeless classic that is sure to please readers of all ages. Highly recommended. Number 3. Adam Bede. Published in 3 volumes in 1859. The title character, a carpenter, is in love with an unmarried woman who bears a child by another man. Although Bede tries to help her, he eventually loses her but finds happiness with someone else. Adam Bede was Eliot's first long novel. She described the work as a country story, full of the breath of cows and the scent of hay. Its masterly realism, evident, for example, in the recording of Derbyshire dialect, brought to English fiction the same truthful observation of minute detail that John Ruskin had commended in the paintings of the pre-Raphaelites. But what was new in this work of English fiction was the combination of deep human sympathy and rigorous moral judgment. Number 4. The Mill on the Floss. The Mill on the Floss is described as Eliot's most autobiographical novel, for its portrayal of a complex relationship between a brother and sister. It is the story of a young woman's struggle for growth and independence against the restraints of small country life, domineering family, and unsuitable suitors. Number 5. Daniel Deronda. Published in 8 parts in 1876. It is notable for its exposure of Victorian anti-Semitism. The novel builds on the contrast between Mara Cohen, a poor Jewish girl, and the upper-class Gwendolyn Harleth, who marries for money and regrets it. The less convincingly realized hero, Daniel, after discovering that he is Jewish, marries Myra and departs for Palestine to help establish a Jewish homeland. The warm picture of the Cohen family evoked grateful praise from Jewish readers, but the best part of Daniel Deronda is the keen analysis of Gwendolyn's character, which seems to many critics the peak of George Eliot's achievement.